So we have to do this topic which I think I missed out. Trachea. Trachea is the passage. We know that. Okay, for that, please kindly go to page number 155 and see trachea. Windpipe. Trachea means windpipe. हमारी body में, when you are talking about your body, you have two tubes together, right? One tube, this one here, I'm sorry. This one is the foot pipe. Okay, I'm sorry. Foot pipe. And in front of foot pipe, we have trachea. You call it as windpipe. So nose से जो हमारा, what do you call it, oxygen we bring in, it goes into the trachea. But from the mouth, food enters into the second tube, which is adjacent to the trachea. And this is your neck. ये आपका neck है. Okay. So basically when you talk about trachea के अंदर फूड नहीं जाना चाहिए, इसीलिए larynx, trachea starts from larynx. शुरुआत कहाँ से होती है? larynx से होती है. Let me just show you once here. This is the trachea, but when you are seeing this trachea, you can see the starting part. जो ऊपर का हिस्सा है ये हमारा लैरिंग्स है, जो कि फेरिंग्स से कंटिन्यू होता है. फेरिंग्स था, फिर लैरिंग्स आया, और लैरिंग्स के ऊपर हमने पढ़ा था देयर इज़ वन फ्लैप लाइक स्ट्रक्चर दैट इज़ गार्डिंग द लैरिंग्स. लैरिंग्स की एंट्री को प्रोटेक्ट करता है ये हमारा फ्लैप लाइक स्ट्रक्चर, this one. And this flap like structure we called as epiglottis, right? It is present in the larynx beginning. तो larynx आगे जाके बनता है हमारा trachea, right? ये हमारा जो trachea है ये larynx continue हुआ है, इसीलिए it is made like this. Okay. Now when you see this structure, trachea will divide into 1 and 2, मतलब left and right bronchi. So trachea divides into bronchi. So two bronchi is there. One is the left bronchi, another is the right bronchi. And where is it entering? It is entering into the lungs, right? It is entering into the lungs. So don't forget, trachea कहाँ से शुरू होता है? हमारे larynx से. So larynx के ऊपर की जो flap like structure, what do you call it? Epiglottis, जो कि prevent करता है unwanted entry of substance, anything that comes, it is stopped by the epiglottis. Now let's see the structure of trachea more in detail. जो ये trachea होता है वो collapse नहीं होना चाहिए. जैसे अगर आप straw से, if you are drinking something with the help of straw, लेकिन जो यहाँ का liquid है वो ख़त्म हो गया, then what happens to the straw? Straw will collapse like this, right? Straw, normal condition में straw ऐसे होना चाहिए, लेकिन अगर there is no water, if I am drawing here, if there is no water in the straw and you are sucking at the edge, what will happen to the straw? वो stick कर जाएगा. It will become collapsed, मतलब वो एक दूसरे के साथ, एक वॉल दूसरे वॉल के साथ स्टिक कर जाएगा. सो ये एक कंडीशन अवॉइड करने के लिए, दिस इज़ ट्रैकिया वॉल. तो ट्रैकिया वॉल एक दूसरे के साथ स्टिक नहीं हो, मतलब दे शुड नॉट कम लाइक दिस. अगर गलती से ट्रैकिया वॉल एक दूसरे का स्टिक हो गया तो क्या होगा? नो एयर इनसाइड, द पर्सन कैन अल्टीमेटली डाई इवन, राइट? दिस इज अ वेरी डेंजरस थिंग, नो? So what God has done? He has created a cartilaginous ring-like structure. Can you see here? This is half visible. लेकिन ये इस शेप का होता है, सी शेप. अगर ये हमारा ट्रैकिया है, ट्रैकिया के यहाँ से यहाँ तक ये रिंग होता है. It is providing half layer protection. That's called C shape. If you touch your throat also, no, if you touch it with your index finger and thumb, जो एक्सटेंडेड पार्ट है आप उसे टच करके देखो और अंदर की ओर आप अपनी इंडेक्स फिंगर और थंब को डाल के ज़रा चेक करोगे, यू विल सी द सी शेप, यू कैन फील द सी शेप ring. Now why is this C-shaped ring provided? So that the trachea do not collapse. So the length of the trachea, it's 10 to 12 centimeter and it runs in front of esophagus. Trachea के पीछे कौन सा ट्यूब होता है? फुट पाइप, जिसे हम बोलते हैं esophagus. And trachea is supported by C-shaped structure, that's a cartilage ring. How many cartilage ring is there? 16 to 20 cartilage ring is there. Why it is there? So that we can prevent collapse of trachea. Trachea walls should not stick to each other. एक दूसरे के साथ वो चिपकनी नहीं चाहिए. That's why we have the rings of cartilage. Now, what is the special quality of this trachea? They have ciliated pseudostratified epithelium. Ciliated means they have cilia-like structure. They have cilia-like structure. What is the use of this cilia-like structure? If there is an unwanted particle that has entered, that will be trapped in this ciliated mucus gland. You know, we have mucus in that ciliated region. So that mucus will trap and the cilia will not let that enter into the lungs. So the entry of those unwanted substance, like sometimes in the air you have dust particles and some kind of pollutants, that is stopped from entering into the lungs through these ciliated epithelium. ट्रैकिया के बाद है हमारा ब्रोंकाई, जो कि ट्रैकिया, जैसे ये ट्रैकिया था तो दिस गॉट डिवाइडेड इनटू bronchi number 1 and bronchi number 2. That's the left bronchi and the right bronchi. This is also made internally protected by the C-shaped incomplete cartilaginous ring. And जो पहला bronchi है, inside the lungs it is dividing into 2. Then this is again dividing into, it keeps dividing. उससे क्या होता है? जो फर्स्ट था यू कॉल दैट एज प्राइमरी. जो प्राइमरी से दो डिवाइड होके बने हैं यू कॉल दिस एज सेकेंडरी. सेकेंडरी से जो डिवाइड हो रहे हैं उसको हम बोले हैं टर्शियरी. स्लोली दे जस्ट डिवाइड एंड एंड इनटू alveoli. What is an alveoli? Alveoli is the balloon-like structure inside the lungs and which is responsible for cellular respiration, matlab exchange. Sorry, not cellular respiration, that's internal respiration. Okay, so exchange of gases happens through the lungs and that is from alveoli. Let's see what is the lung. Main respiratory organ in humans, one pair of spongy and elastic lungs. So how many lungs do you have? 2 lungs you have. So you generally say pair of lungs and they are located in thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is a space where your heart is located inside the rib cage, okay? And each lung is covered by a pleural membrane. There is double layer membrane, that's called pleural membrane. And between this pleural membrane there is pleural fluid. A pleural membrane ठीक है, समझ में आता है. फ्लूइड की क्या ज़रूरत है? इट्स वेरी सिंपल. It's avoiding friction when the layer are going, when lungs is going to move up and down while you're breathing. जब आप सांस लेते हो lungs ऊपर नीचे होता है ना, so it is moving up and down. It should not rub on the surface. So to avoid that, we have pleural fluid that helps as a lubricating fluid and protects the surface area of the lungs from getting corroded while movement. So how many lobes are there in the lungs? The right lungs is divided into 3 lobes while left is divided into only 2 lobes. lungs के अंदर जो bronchioles थे, मतलब आपके tertiary और quaternary terminal bronchioles, they end into air sac. Those air sacs are called as alveoli. So somewhere around every bronchiole has got 10 to 12 alveoli. So what is an alveoli? Thin-walled lobulated structure like a bunch of grapes, and they are surrounded by arteries and veins, capillaries. Why do we use this word capillaries? Because capillary has the lining that can exchange the gases. So in total, how many alveoli are there? 700 million alveoli are there. And what do alveoli do? They help in exchange of gases.